The memories that pain you when someone leaves are the same ones that will comfort you later. These are the words Folarin, played by the wondrous Shokpe Dirisu, says to his 11-year-old son, Olaremi, in My Father's Shadow. Except when he says those words, you can't help but feel this is Wale and Akinola Davies Jr. speaking to their dad, their family, and really anyone who's lost a loved one. In this reimagination of Nigeria's first free and fair election, told through the eyes of two prepubescent brothers who only want one thing: to spend some time with their father. Joined with me in the studio today to cover feature debut film from Akinola Davies Jr., we have TMT, host of Submarine and the Roach, Nigeria's #1 comedy podcast, making his TCA debut. And we have SA, production manager at Fatherland Productions and production coordinator for this film. Let's start with you, SA. How's it going? How you doing? What have you been watching?
Doing good. I haven't been watching anything honestly because I'm prepping to shoot something. And when that happens, I can't really, my instinct is not to ingest any other content when I'm prepping, even when I'm in production mode, not even in directing mode, is not really to ingest anything. I think I'm sort of mindlessly watching Bones, the
Oh,
stuff I don't even know when it was from, but just when you have some dead time, it's oh, let me just have this playing in the background, but I'm not watching anything right now. I'm thinking about Interview with the Vampire a lot because I think it's coming out this summer. The new season coming
okay,
out this summer. But yeah,
okay,
that's about
okay. TMT, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Bro, no one asks you that, really, when you're doing this P. Every time guests, they say how they're doing, and that's it. Like, I'm a person too, I have feelings.
No,
And
you
I'm
do,
doing
you
good.
do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. What are you
yeah.
watching?
So I've been reading Clive Cussler, which is horrible, but it's super it's like super dense adventure bullshit, which is essentially
Okay.
adventure stuff is basically white men going to less developed societies and stealing their art. So it's kind of influenced what I'm watching, which is Indiana Jones and
Oh,
the Mummy and stuff like that. Which
okay.
those movies are really fun, but they're also really these are horrible people. They just have it's just it's film and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fun to watch. It's romantic, it's
yeah,
swashbuckling, and they wear a lot
yeah.
of khaki, which is fun to see. And yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's pretty much
And I
me these
think
days.
Harrison Ford is kind of likable. I don't know how or why, because in a vacuum, he looks like an evil person. I can't lie, but
Hmm.
for some reason, I can't not even in Shrinking. I don't know if you guys watch Shrinking. In
Yeah.
Shrinking, where he's meant to be an asshole and kind of a dickhead, I'm like he's probably my favorite character, honestly. So
Yeah, Harrison Ford has when I can imagine Harrison Ford was just a really evil person in his past
yeah,
life, and then they brought him to this life, but he was
yeah,
raised by wonderful people, and he's just I guess I'm a wonderful person now. Because there's a scene in Temple of Doom,
yeah.
which is maybe the last good. Is that the one after Raiders? I think it's the one after Raiders. Yeah. So yeah, it's not as good as Raiders, obviously, but
Hmm.
there's a scene where he's hallucinating and mind controlled, and they put this red light on him to highlight that oh yeah, he's kind of evil now, and he's terrifying. He's
Yeah. Okay.
it's really bad.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine. I need to get back into those films,
yeah,
like
the
those dark.
pulpy, yeah,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
all set. And the thing is, they get away with their evil
Hmm.
because they make all the bad guys Nazis. And it's yeah, we're doing this awful thing, but they are Nazis, yes.
So it was, yeah.
Yeah. No.
But starting with you, since you have that going on, TMT, you wear many hats. You're a podcaster on Summer Roach, Problem Man, the Dirty Lie podcast, and then you're also a guest on a bunch of podcasts. Popcorn for Dinner, which we did together.
Hmm.
I think you were a guest in Is This Seat Taken as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do some creative work. So how is it like
Life
balancing all of that?
coach. Hmm.
Life coach.
Yeah.
Sorry, one thing
Yeah.
about people that are life coaches is how you're a life coach when we're doing this the first time. This is our first go around it.
I don't think, like I said about Indiana Jones, I don't think it's the first time for some people.
Oh, past life
Yeah. And
regression.
And I think increasingly people are getting worse at not letting other people know that this isn't their first time here. You know what I mean?
I
So
like
like
this conspiracy.
I feel like if you come back and you're living
Uh,
life, you are mass wealth, you're better at investing and things, but you're not supposed to tell anyone. And I think when you tell someone, you have to like crash in a plane, like JFK style, like like just like odd, like no, not JFK, sorry, JFK Jr. Like, when like people die flying, so it's like unexplained death. That's how you go.
Fair
And I
enough.
feel like people are edging it now, where they're doing it, and it's like
People are
you've
onto
been
them.
here, you've been here before,
I
yeah,
feel you. I feel
yeah.
you. Oh, how's it like balancing all of that? And is that something that you're currently working on?
Balancing, I don't balance it well. I think anyone that's like, "Oh, you have it all, you do it." No, they something is suffering. But what I do is I phase out my life. So there are periods where things suffer more, and there are periods where I'm like, I'm not working for like 3
Okay.
months. Mhm.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. So, what am I working on? Right now, a film actually.
Oh,
We're about to enter. We're in pre-production. We're about to enter actual production. We found most of our money, and the rest we'll find while we film, because we're really, really bullish on having a strong marketing budget.
that's
Um,
cool.
I can't
So
really talk about
future,
it obviously, but it's
yeah,
like a
no, of
pretty big.
course.
So
Like
it's
feature
that,
length
and
or
it's
short film.
feature length, feature length.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good
because
luck, man.
I've done short stuff, and it's really good. Yeah, and it's fun. It's hard, yeah. But, like, I needed to do shorts to, like, let me know, to help me know if I wanted to, because filmmaking is really hard. I don't know how people do it. I say,
Yeah,
"Listen, man, well done," because I just this is this will be my last one, so the one after it. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fair. Guess we could pivot to USA then, Fatherland. So what's that like, production manager? And since the movie's release, has life been, like busier onto the next one, keep it pushing, or have you kind of been on a much deserved victory lap and like relaxing and stuff?
Well, you know what they say, the reward for good work is
More
more
work.
work.
More work.
Goddamn.
More work. So I think we've seen that like it sort of opened doors of interest. There's lots of people who've been curious about, I think, the Nigerian film industry who sort of see us and it's like, oh, what are you guys doing? um, on one end, but there's also for us and our own ambitions in terms of the other stories that we want to tell and the other filmmakers and artists that we want to support. And so it's been figuring out um, how we bring all of those to life, honestly. So, like, even if we're not in act production, there's always like something in the pipeline or something that we're trying to get off the ground.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've always wondered what that space was like in Nigeria, because I left at a younger age. Like everything I know about film has been through the lens of Hollywood, you know. And I think this is the first film that we're covering that's not like that's a Nigerian film, and it's crazy because we're a Nigerian podcast. So it's like I've always been very intrigued by, and obviously not your no offense to these films, but your Wedding Party and Christmas in Vegas. Not that like it makes me happy to see something like this exist and something like watching something like this in foreign cinema in a packed cinema with different people. I've just always been curious how that space is, but we have capable hands, TMT and SE, making more films like that. Happy to hear. Happy to hear. Do either of you have siblings?
I have one sister,
I have one
Okay,
sister.
older or younger?
younger.
My sister
Younger.
younger.
Oh, okay. So you guys would be the tech, I guess, in this situation. And I'm asking that because
I
watching
know.
this film watching this film and listening, because I saw it at TIFF where Tech and Akinola were both there, and watching them talk. Obviously, like they're both creatives, but I felt like Akinola has had the privilege of being a bit sheltered and a bit protected, which is not a bad thing. I think it's allowed him chase his dreams and live a bit more freely. You know what I mean? And I think I saw some of that reflected in the sibling dynamic in the sense that Akin was kind of protected, and you're both creative. So I was just wondering if some of like some sort of that sibling relationship played a role in like your career path or your choices that you made. I don't know.
Essay, please.
I don't know that it is. I feel like my sister is like the braver, more audacious one. And I think like there's like some similarity there to like Remy and Akin, where like Remy is the more like mature and he will like assess his situation and figure out how to approach it, whereas Akin is sort of like off the cuff and will say whatever is on his
Yeah.
mind to his parents, to the whoever is outside, he doesn't really care. And I feel like my sister is the same way. Whereas like if something happens, I might text her about it and she'll just be in the family group chat, so like, why did you do this thing? Um
That's crazy.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I think yeah, I don't know that like I've necessarily like sheltered her. I feel like I've made decisions that have made it easier for her to like get away with more tomfoolery. Um,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
but other than that, nah, I think like she's no, she's leading the way, and I'm happy
Okay.
to follow.
That's cool. You don't hear big siblings say that, but that's cool. TOT.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my sister, because it's a boy and a girl, there's less it's kind of like having two firstborns in a sense. Yeah, so
Oh,
yeah,
word.
and we're 3 years apart, so we've never been too far. But the main thing is that like I don't think she's ever been sheltered, because also I think when you're a woman, kind of you just grow up faster. You kind of see the world for what it is.
Yeah,
So I think with two boys, there's a tendency for one of them to be more grounded in reality
that's true. Yeah,
and less sheltered than the other. But with both of us, it was more. It's just two people kind of learning life. And my thing growing up was always my parents were, I don't want to say strict. They weren't strict, but they were very, you do this, then you do this, then you go to law school, then you go to this, and that. And it didn't make me rebel. I've never been particularly rebellious, but I've always been a person who does what they want. So
okay.
I've never done like any sort of open rebellion. But if my dad is like, "You're doing this summer," I'll be like, "Okay, then I'll just do what I want." Actually,
Oh,
when summer comes, I just do what I want,
yeah,
and I've always been more comfortable saying I don't get confrontational with my parents. I just do what I want, and then I say, "Oh, sorry, I'm sorry."
yeah,
So
yeah,
now, even when they're like giving me orders or telling me stuff, they say it, and I feel like they don't even believe themselves anymore because they know I'm just going to do what I want. Um, yeah. Whereas my sister, she's really good at sticking up for herself. If she's not doing anything, she's telling you like, "Yo, I'm not doing anything. I'm not TMT. I'm not living a lie with you guys. I'm just going to do what I want," and she'll do what she wants. Yeah. So yes, that's kind of a dynamic.
yeah. I'm the first of four boys. Four boys is crazy. Just yeah, I know. But my mom tried. My mom really shout out that woman for real. I'm the first of four boys, so I've never had a choice really. Like it's sort of like you said. Like my dad is would tell me I'm doing this summer, except I would do. I had to do that, bro. Like I didn't know I could rebel until maybe junior year of college even.
Mm.
And yeah, and it's so fascinating when I see my brothers, like my little siblings now, like one of them does music. And if I thought to even do music when I was a child, like I thought my dad would actually like hurt me or maybe even like just end me there, like cut me off completely. But like he just does music and it's no one says anything, you know? I'm like, how that happen? How that work? But yeah, I think back to Remy and Akin for a bit. Like I think Remy was obviously, and it was just 3 years between them. Like, but Remy was very more mature. Like I would think like he was, you know, the second parent, I guess,
Hmm.
to an extent to Akin. And when I watched Tech and Akinola talk about this, it was very much, you know, I could see that. I could see he's had to be the more mature one. He's had to be the one protecting him. He's had to be the one carrying some of the, you know, pain, I guess, more. And he cried at the premiere when he was talking about the film, and I could just see the pain on there. And this meant like so. I mean, obviously, it means a lot to Akinola as well, but it meant so much to him. It was very heavy for him, and I just thought, wow, like, yeah, the kids did a great job in that role, man. Fantastic. And this is your first. Granted, I think your mom is an actor and
She's an
scriptwriter,
actress.
but like,
Yeah, she's a
yeah,
screenwriter and actress. Yeah.
yeah, but like, this is your first role. Bro, blew me away, really, really. But as two people You currently live in Nigeria. That's right, right? Yeah. How do you feel like the film captured the mundane aspect of like living in Lagos, or like the everyday part of Nigerian life? Because I feel there's a couple scenes in restaurants, like there's one at the palm wine joint and one in that restaurant where they run into the aunt, and there's scenes where they're just sitting at the beach and just walking around, taking the bus. So how do you feel like the film does in that regard, like just the mundanity of it all?
I'll let you go first, TMT.
I think beyond the restaurant scenes and just like, the slice of life stuff, I think my favorite representation of Lagos is like stuff not working, in the sense that, like, he goes to it's like a factory, right? To get his back
Yeah,
pay.
yeah, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he's not here yet. So that's that. And he's like, you know, and it's very Lagos. Like, Lagos is very like, oh, this thing that you banked on for weeks or months due to no fault of yours isn't happening today, and there's
Yeah,
no consequence for anyone except you.
yeah,
And what are you going to do about it? Not come back another day? That's those are your options. It's either you wait or you call someone who's like important. But if you don't have access to someone important, then you wait, go back another day, you figure something else out.
that's
And I
crazy.
think being a dad and being in that position, and still like your first instinct is to like, okay, this thing that I banked on isn't happening, so we're going to do something else, and I'm going to like try and not expose you to it. It's a very noble, like, it's a very Nigerian parent thing, because growing up, I just saw my parents like, hey, life is good. And I'm just like, okay, life is good. But then I'd hear like my great grandma, who was in the house, she was like, she raised my sister and I, and she'd be like, hey man, listen, life is life isn't that good. And I'd be like, oh, what? And she couldn't speak English, so she would only speak Pidgin and Yoruba. Those were her two languages. And she would tell me, and that was how I learned Pidgin, just like from talking to her. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, so life no good right now." And it was just very like an odd way to learn how things weren't always working all the
Yeah,
time. But then down the line, everything would like kind of figure itself out. My parents are like super smart, hardworking people, and they made good lives for themselves and for my sister and I. So it was just that, like, because even just living in Lagos, you kind of experience lots of pockets of those things.
yeah,
And it's like, I don't want to say it's nice to know, but it's kind of comforting to know that, like, even in the 90s, there's this tendency to sort of, oh, we used to be a country, oh, the golden age of Nigeria. But it's like nice to know that like things weren't, like they just weren't working for them as well.
yeah.
So that was a big part of the film.
Yeah. Wait, before you respond, I say I actually didn't think about like that aspect, but now that you say things not working, I f- I don't watch enough Nigerian films, but when they go to the place where like the security guy changes over the changeover box, I'm like, whoa, I can't remember the last time I saw that in a film actually, like just no power and them having to change over, like that was I I clocked that in my head, and then when the bus broke down and they came down and they're like, "What's happening?" It's like no fuel. Okay, what do we now do? And everyone just starts walking. I'm like, yeah, that can happen. That's not something
Yeah.
that's so far fetched, and like that can and will happen, or what you just said. So yeah, but what about USA? What do you think about the mundane aspects of the film?
It goes back to the thing that made me fall in love with film in the first place, that idea of being seen. And like when you can be it's very easy for us as people to be very in our heads. And when you see things that feel like you said, mundane, like on the big screen, that's just like, oh, like you realize that you or like a bunch of people understand these things. And so it's like simple things like the preacher on like the bridge, and how familiar it is to just have people like shouting down megaphones on a random day, like preaching. The seller in the market, I used to go to like Ijebu as a kid, because
Mm,
that's where my mom's dad is from, and my cousins and I would take off, and they would be like just random people doing. But it's those things that feel like they're tapping into like things that feel very personal, but quiet moments from like the way we've lived our lives. Seeing
hmm
that, like realizing that's like this is actually a more communal experience than you sometimes
Yeah,
think it is. I think is like so profound. And even going back to what TMT said about like Nigeria not working, there's also this thing about the film that's like everything changes, but everything stays the same. There's so many parallels you can make with what's happening in the film and how we feel about Nigeria now. And then even just like the mundanities of life and things in like 1993 echoing things that we are experiencing now. It's like,
Yeah.
I think it's like really profound and beautiful storytelling. Yeah.
That's a perfect segue to my next question. One thing that I liked was they made a point of showing the SDP slogan on the wall on the flyers, which was Hope 93, which in 2023, he who must not be named, our personal Voldemort, his APC slogan was Renewed Hope 23. I was going, I guess, TMT as our cultural custodian, but, also SA. Is this show? Why do you make that face? Bro, are you the cultural custodian?
Sorry, go on.
Does this film feel politically relevant to you? And I'm asking that only because it's...
Because I was there when it happened. Are you calling me old?
It's a very personal story, right? This is the most personal of stories. I think grief is probably the most complex emotion that we experience. So it's a very personal story. But you see backdrops like that and what you've just said about, many years later, things feel like they haven't really changed. So like, does this one feel politically relevant? Would you say it has cultural capital or it's lacking in that regard?
I think Nigeria has an extreme archive problem. Like, we are really bad at documenting some of the most pivotal parts of our history, some of the most decisive points, what's that thing in the MCU for like canon moments? I've forgotten what it's called.
The time something, like when they keep... I forget what it's
No,
called.
no. It's like it's basically like our inflection points, basically like the most important. Yeah, so stuff like that. We've never really been good at it. That's why, like, when guys like Fuad create companies like Archiving, and their whole mission is to sort of record or get the records and have everything. I find it really important, and I find this film extremely important. I don't think it trivializes it, and I think the best way to tell a story is, I think attempting to tell the entire story of June 12th is insane.
Yeah, it is.
It's very ambitious, but telling it from the POV of a family is so masterful. It's brilliant. And I think capturing the amount of tension, I always talk about, like, with that film, the color grading is so cool, but like capturing all that tension, but also but life goes on, that happens in Nigeria when these things are happening, when like people are like, oh, man, you shouldn't go out right now because the soldiers are out and this and this. I have to work. Do you see? I'm raising a family of 4 boys. They eat anyhow. I have to work. I think there's something really beautiful about capturing that, and you capture it with, like, the high moments where they go to the beach, and then you capture it with the, like, low moments where there's the tension point with the soldiers in the third act of the film. So being able to tell that story that way, and it's these 3 characters, and it's telling like everything else that's happening in their lives at this point, but it also happens to be on this very, very important day.
Yeah.
It's superb. It's superb storytelling, and it's also a film that doesn't have a MacGuffin, which is just, that's how how much time they spent with the script. Because there's, I think, a big part of Nigerian cinema, and really cinema in general now, because the slop on Netflix, we need to talk about that one day. But like, a big part of it is, we need to go from here to get this. And I listen, I'm watching these Indiana Jones films, and I just see them everywhere. It's like, we need to get the thing for the thing to get the key, and then we fly to Peru, and it's like, okay, just Relax.
Yeah.
So in a film where like, it's just like we're going to the beach, we're doing this, and the whole point of this film is killing time. Not the whole point of the film, but like the whole the linear narrative is trying to kill time, because we're waiting for things, and it's it's amazing.
I
It's
see.
yeah.
See.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying. We're not trying to. We're not trying to like get a thing to do a thing to. No, we're just trying to like. Time has to go by. Yeah, sometimes the best way to go through life is to just go through it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Words.
that's this.
I see.
I think, like, interestingly, the thing I think about is that it's not even necessarily trying to kill time, they're trying to hold on to time. I think when you
Mm-hmm.
start getting into, like, the magical realism aspects of the story, it feels more like Folarin is trying to buy time with his boy, and that the boys are trying to, like, buy time with their father. And I think that's really, like, the core of the film. Like as we sort of like can be a back and forth as to, like, is this a father and son story, or is it a political story? But like, the political story doesn't carry as much weight without, like, the humanity that this father and his sons give it. So like
Yes.
the choice to, like, really, like, tell this story about an important moment in Nigerian history through this very, very, very personal lens and
Mm-hmm.
perspective is the thing that, like, is the reason you're crying at the end, right? Like, you're crying for Folarin, you're crying for Nigeria, like, all of it, like, becomes like, it's like these two things that are sort of happening parallel to each other and, like, slowly, 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 like, crash into each other by the time you get to the
Yeah.
bar scene and in the um scene with the car and the soldiers. And then by the end you've seen that these two have sort of, like, merged into each other, and that's, like, the way they approach it, those two, like, sort of things converging is, like, beautiful and really, like, helps you settle into that notion of, like, how much we lose personally and
Mm-hmm.
politically navigating this country of ours.
Yeah.
True Lars. I think for me, the first time I watched it, and I don't know why this was my takeaway, but I kind of took away that June 12th in the backdrop only served as like a plot vehicle, right? Like I was feeling like I could, if you set this film about another day where something was happening in the country, it would be the same film. But I rewatched it in preparation for this podcast, and I was very wrong. I think if you set this film on any other day, it's a different story. I don't know exactly how it changes. I don't know exactly what like what changes, but the last act is kind of like you said, like it's where it all ties and emerges in together. The last act for me, there's a montage of cars burning, people shooting, news, like chaos happening. And I think that's when it becomes very, very emotional. It starts to become very emotional for me. And that just like Akinola doesn't drop the I don't know, the tone from there. It's like he keeps it from there up until the very last shot, right? The whole "Father, I will see you in my dreams." It's just, it's heavy, either in a chaotic way, in a dramatic way, in an emotional way, but it's just very heavy. And I think if you set this film on some other day, like the thing that creates that tension is going to be something different. But yeah, I think they're in tandem, in parallel, but they're also working together. And like you said when you started TMT, like to try to retell June 12th on its own, like just tell that day on its own is very crazy. They teach us in school that, and that's why I did the quotes. They teach us in school that this was the day that we had our first free and fair election and stuff like that, but they don't really tell you much about it. Like I
hmm
know in my social studies class or my civic education class, I don't know anything that happened on that day. And unfortunately, I'm not going to know anything other than what one person in power decided this is going to be the national narrative that we're going to push out, and this is what everyone has to know, and that's it. All I know is we used to celebrate that day as MK Abiola Day, and then like it's just yeah, it's ambitious, but I think they do a very good job of it through this lens that they've chosen. Yeah,
Yeah.
my interpretation of it all was just two boys wanting to spend more time with their dad, you know, just spend some time with him and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think beyond really masterful storytelling, again, like there's a reason these guys, these guys have, kind of killed history in Nigerian schools and the curriculum and stuff like that. So yeah, they've killed history in education, in the educational structure and system. It's just not really a thing. Some schools try to, keep it there and just have history as a side that you can learn. But largely, it's just something that like most schools don't teach, public and private. Because Nigeria is very just educationally, we've always been very functional and vocational. So it's like, oh, you do this, WAEC takes this, and then you get into this one, So that's kind of killed history. But when you have films like this that are like very character driven and also highlights moments that for a lot of people just don't know about these things. I know this is crazy. There was a civil war that happened in Nigeria, and I just didn't know about it till like I was leaving secondary school. Someone just
Yeah.
mentioned it to me, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
I had to literally go online, click, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I ordered a book, read up, and it's like I think things like this, and it's funny with the civil war that happened. Like a lot of the girls I knew in school knew about it because they had read half of the Yellow Sun,
Bro. Yeah.
and I never read half of the Yellow Sun because like all I read in high school was Lord of the Rings and maybe Harry Potter. Like I was very much a fantasy nerd. And I was just like, "Hey, I'm not reading anything with love or heartbreak." And that was when I was like, "Okay, okay, let's
Yeah.
we need to reevaluate how the information we're taking in and how we're taking it in and stuff like that." So I think movies like this are extremely important because not they don't just tell you about the events, but they also show you like the personal stake, like what people are losing when
Mhm.
countries don't work and stuff like that.
And it was crazy even for us to realize, like, as we were shooting it, people like on set, like, didn't like know the full context and didn't like understand. And like, yes, like the younger, like Gen Z people, but even people who were like a little like older, like just didn't have like the
Yeah,
full context. It's like, oh, it's a democracy day. And it's like, no, babes, like, it's a whole thing. Um,
Yeah.
that
and
day
it
was
like
not about
we,
democracy.
It's not. It's really not. Yeah.
um, yeah, and we ended up doing this like short documentary after called Stories from June 12, where we invited like a bunch of like um children to talk to their parents about their experiences on June 12th. Like the stories you were hearing of people from like different like backgrounds, different classes and stuff of like people hearing for the first time their mother talking about like, yeah, we had to hide in like the bush for like hours before we could go home because
Damn.
they would like, or like
Yeah.
people talking about like someone talking about how like he was on the way to his hospital to the hospital to see his wife and like hearing that and the impact. Ayole Jadjo actually who plays Baba in the film specifically talked about like his own experience and like having a child at the same time at a time where you had hope in the future of your country and it feeling like that hope disappeared. And even Fumbi's dad, Fumbi talking about like that was the first time she remember seeing her dad cry, like
Hmm.
coming home and seeing that announcement being made. Like people like really like started to, it felt like it started an intergenerational conversation about like help me understand this thing because again we're not taught it and so we now understand not just on like a political level but on a personal level what it
Mhm.
how like our parents feel and like it puts into context how they've reacted to things in like more recent times and why like they were like sure best of luck but like we all know how this go type of thing because it's because you see and you okay I understand now like, whereas we may have looked at them and been like oh you guys are not about it you don't care about this country you don't want it to be better you like hear like their real personal experiences and you understand why they might be a little jaded.
Yeah. What you've just said is so true because when Tollgate happened, 2020, I was obviously here. It was during COVID, but I called my dad and I was like, I think I had a lot of like anger for him because he told the estate guy to lock the gate, told no one to go out, no one to join the protest or whatever, and it's like we're not like he basically, in his own words, if I was to translate, he basically said he doesn't give a fuck whatever happens there. If they're shooting people, if people are protesting, if things get better, if things don't get better, he's like, no one that lives here is going right to join the protest. And then, what happens. People get shot, people die, and stuff like that. And I'm just like talking to him why, and he's like, what is the point? Like he could have told me how this day was going to go, before it even started. Like we can record all we want and we can film all we want. But as soon as it's time for, when someone up there has had enough of all of this that's going on, all they have to do is make a phone call, make an announcement, and what will happen, what has always happened, will happen again. So I think, he probably remembers, or he's probably lived through some of these. Would I even call it an uprising or revolution? I don't know what to call it. He's lived through some of these
Oppressed, right? Unrest, civil
unrest,
unrest.
yeah,
Yeah.
civil unrest, but I mean like more like people trying to take, I don't want to say take back power, either through the democratic process or through like, organized, he's lived through some of this before, and he's seen how the government has just quelled it always. And so yeah, it's crazy that we don't learn this or they don't teach us this. And everything that I know about the Civil War was through my father, who then learned it from his father. So there's a chance that, something got missed along the line. And every time I get an argument with someone else about the Civil War, it's usually a tribalist argument anyways.
Yep.
It's all about what I know and what I was told versus what they know and what they were told. And we have no way of fact checking who is right or who isn't. We go on Wikipedia and it's political jargon that's spilled on there. And so it's not enough. Yeah.
My mom told me that like their generation, for context, my mom is 59,
Okay.
and she said their generation used to protest. And this is like the same generation, by the way, who again were like preventing their kids from going out and being like, listen, guys.
Yeah.
Also the same generation that like when everyone was like so tired of good luck, they were like, don't vote for Buhari. We're telling but I'm not blaming anyone, but like my mom's generation, my mom told me that they were so bad. Like when it came to like protesting and stuff, they used to protest so much that like when I can't remember whose school it was, but this must have been like 88 or 89. They waited until a lot of them were at NYC camp
Damn.
and then they did the coup. Because these people, like, they would just go out into the streets. They were
And just
so
mess it up. Yeah.
unruly. So I mean, just to see, and I don't even know if it's like, I don't think they've been defeated, but like they've just seen so much that it's gone. It's just like, my watch has ended. I'm just going to protect my family now.
Yeah.
That's the best I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if they've been defeated, I can't even blame them. Like, I see where this is headed for me as like if there was a protest now, I'll show up, like all that. I don't want to say we're wasting our time, but all that stuff that we're doing here, where I think AG had a protest in Houston because I was in Houston at the time, and I went out and we recorded it and we put it on Instagram. We're like, yeah, supporting from Houston Tech, and SARS, all that stuff. Like if they did it again today, I would do it, but like I'll see less numbers when I go there, and the next year it will be less numbers and less numbers until it's just 6 of you there doing Instagram photo ops and stuff because nothing is happening. Like nothing is, changing. So
Well, I mean, some things have changed in the sense that, like, because information is just a lot more democratized than it used to be, and Nigeria does have like an insane amount of young people because we like procreation. There's just so many, like so many young people. And I work in a production studio.
okay,
There are literally people here who in my studio where like there are courses that cost thousands of dollars that would make them better editors, producers, whatever. And these guys would literally just sit in a corner and learn it on TikTok. And it's so, and like, I'm an internet boy. I'm genuinely like, people when for a long time when people ask me what I do, I just say I'm an internet guy without context, and that would like, it would really piss them off or confuse them or whatever. But like, I just say I'm an internet guy. I'm an internet guy, but I find it very, very hard to like look at a screen for a long time, like a smartphone, tablet. Yeah. When I tweet or post, I just post and then I throw my phone away. These guys learn, like, they're getting whole like film. They're going to film school on TikTok, and they're coming out with like insane skills. And it's just the same way for like history, knowledge dissemination. Like the moment they want to learn about something, the moment they're going to learn it. I have like, and I know it's like a lot of people. I'm always going to have faith in the next generation because at some point the work does get done.
amen.
It does get done. Like America wasn't like, America is insanely corrupt. Sorry, Americans. Like, it's true. Like, you guys know now. Nobody's even hiding this anymore. No one's trying to pretend like you're not corrupt anymore. It's fine. It's out there. But like, in terms of like just like insane base, like Nigeria level corruption. America was there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's an old country. Like all these old countries, they've been there. I think we'll find our feet. Will it be too late? I don't know. Time is fun. Like it's weird. We'll see how it goes. But like I think we'll get there. I have a lot of faith in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll drink to that next time. Next time I have a drink. Let's talk set design. Moving back to the film for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I guess essay. How would you, or how were they able to recreate some of these things? And if the answer is very simple, then my apologies. But it felt like it looked, it sounded, it felt very in its time. You know, like some of the buildings. Like I think there was like a shot of, would it be National Theatre? There was like a shot of something in one of the montages, and like the way it looked and the way it felt, the buses, the cars, and stuff like that. So how easy or feasible were they able to, create some of that stuff? And especially in Lagos, like this was pre, 99, was this pre Tinubu? I think it was.
It's definitely pre-tunable. It's
Yeah.
1999. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how were they able to do some of this?
Yeah, so it's a combination of like a couple of things. One is that like unfortunately but beneficially to the film, we don't have a great maintenance culture here. Um so there's a lot of things that look like they would fit like very seamlessly in the 90s. So from like a locations point
Oh,
of view,
dang. That's crazy. That is
so
crazy.
so from like a locations point of view, there's like places that like yes, you all haven't really done much since 93 probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's great. And so, I mean, what we do from like at least like Fatherland and now an approach to filmmaking is that when you leave a space, like you leave it either the same or better. And so, like if we're going in and we need to paint and stuff to make it work, like it's we're not going to paint it back to the original place way if it was bad. Like it's like okay, you got a new paint job as part of our production type of thing. And on the other hand, it's like a mix of like the art department, the um, AD department, the unit department, the security department, um, coming together to like execute certain things. So like the scenes where they're like in a roundabout, they're sitting on a bench and there's a billboard of like a white preacher, like they're sitting around about this Costain, like right where National Theatre is, and we would just have to close down the roundabouts for like 20 minutes to shoot the scene. We would get our picture vehicles that were all like 90s vehicles. Well, technically, the art department did like amazing research and they realized that like, oh, like because these are like working class um people, a lot of the cars that they would have had would actually have been from the 80s, not necessarily the 90s.
The 90s. Okay. Yeah.
So the cars, the fashion might be more like 80s as opposed to like 93, but just because
Mm-hmm.
things tend to
Mm-hmm.
trickle to Nigeria, we don't necessarily get things like immediately.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
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 And then they also, our department again, they just, again, because we have such like a poor archiving culture, like the way they sort of figured out how to um really like infuse those like authentic 90s elements was like literally going through their own family photos. So like their mood boards and stuff were like pictures from their own families in the 90s, which made like allowed this film to like really delve deeper into this idea of like it's a personal story that's like happening parallel to a political story, right? So a combination of like a lot of departments just doing like really hard work and like taking it personally to the point of like going to ask for like, please, can you give me the pictures of you when you were around this age, around that time? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of sad. Like that is like obviously it's good work, great work that they've done, but it's sad that you can't pull up a valid, I don't know, 2-minute video of what this place would have looked like
Yes.
on at this time, and you have to go through your own. But great work to them. Great. Like I wasn't alive at that time. Sorry to the prehistoric folks, but I
Excuse me.
would.
Wait. Hold on.
My bad. My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm just trying
Pele,
to
pele.
uh,
Happy no.
hope
How
your
old are
back
you
good, bro.
guys? How old
Hope
are
you,
you guys?
do you need a back brace, bro?
I do, but shut up.
Oh man,
Well, before
pushing 30.
you're pushing 30. How old are you guys, if you don't mind me asking? It's fine
My
if you.
birthday is I turned 28 in 2 days.
Oh, happy birthday.
TLC stressed.
I'm so upset. I hate this so much. Oh my god. Okay. Also, quick number crunch before we move forward. June 12th, 1999. Tinubu
93.
became what?
What do you mean?
Wait, no,
You said
no, hold on.
99.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I meant 93. Never mind. Tinubu was still in America.
Oh, we're still pushing drugs.
Guess who the governor was? Come on.
Governor of Lagos State?
Yes. Michael Otedola.
Ain't no way, dog.
I did not know
I
that.
did not know that. No.
Yeah, so
Oh wow.
yeah. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
It's been many years of people just getting rich off of Nigeria, man.
Like, really, like everything changes and everything stays the same.
Yeah. But yeah, amazing work to the on the set design and stuff. I thought that was, I mean, after the cinematography and like the authenticity of the writing, I feel like that was also a part that I took away. Like, this is tremendous work. I did have one question. What was that with the fish? What did that mean? What did that represent on the beach? What was that? I don't think that's an experience that I have experienced in Lagos.
It's something
And
one
what
is
did it
experienced in Lagos.
okay, but was it meant to signify anything? Because after that, it kind of just cuts and then they go back to the ice cream scene. And
Have you never seen the sea pork video? Oh, you guys are so young. It must be so cool. Holy crap.
what is that?
Is the scene you're talking about where the
The shark of fish
yeah,
washes
it
offshore
washes up and they eat it.
Yeah.
So like, hold on, I need to get the year. Sea pork. Okay, but it's a common occurrence. But that was the first time. That was the first time it went viral.
Oh, okay.
In the sense that like it was the first time that non-sea people were like it came online in Nigeria. I can't remember what year it was. But basically, I want to say like 2015, 16. A whale washes up on the shore in Lagos.
Okay.
And I believe it's dying or dead. But either way, people, it's like, obviously, like, it's like the advent of smartphones. Everyone has smartphones at this period. And people are making videos. Sea pork. SEAPORK. And they're like, they have buckets and they're getting pieces of it. They're chopping it up on the beach.
Dang.
And they're taking it home to eat. And I was just like, oh my God, this is how COVID happened. But obviously there was no COVID. There was no COVID then. This was pre-COVID, but it was just like I'll never forget sea pork. In fact, I'm going to search
Sea
it on Twitter.
pork is funny as hell.
Yeah. Sea pork was like
because I saw that and I'm like, I watched this, and obviously I know that everything is authentic up until this point. Like, I feel like that guy said fan ice, right? He could have said ice cream. He could have said something else. Like, okay, sidebar. I think credit to Tech and Akinola, but because Tech was like the writer, credit to him for including as little exposition as possible. Like, I would think, okay, if you're trying to market this to a broad audience, which they were successful in doing, you would make some of the things be more, if someone says something, you have another character explaining what it is, but they didn't do any of that. Like, everything is very, if you get it, you get it. If you know it, you know it, right? And if you don't know it, well, just keep watching. So I liked that they did that. But when they got to that scene, I'm like, okay, I don't think this is something they made up because everything else is original. But I don't know what is like. What is this? What does this even mean? And then after that, we don't get any. There's no resolution to that. The whole thing. No one gets hurt or anything. It's just caught, and then they're buying ice cream. So that one was lingering in my brain, and I had to force myself to stop thinking about it. But yeah, just be curious about that. Was that a real fish? Do you know? I say.
Do I know if it was a real fish? I feel like I can't answer that question.
I don't know, man. I'm just fascinated by it.
I'm a lawyer.
My mind just went.
No, I was going to say I'm a lawyer, and I'm just going to advise you not to.
Let's see. That's fine. We can move on. Just gonna switch gears a lot to Chopin's performance. At the after party for the film, I asked Akinola a bunch of questions. One of the questions I asked him was more critical of the casting because I felt everyone else was original or maybe they've worked outside of Nigeria, but a bunch of the cast is, locally sourced, especially two kids. And I felt he isn't, right? He's largely done stuff outside Nigeria. And in certain scenes, like he does a tremendous job. He's like in my introduction, I said the wondrous Jirisu. He does a tremendous job with the intonation, the pidgin, the Yoruba. You can hardly tell that, this is not the way he talks all the time, but it still filters in here and there. And so I asked him, why he cast it, if it was like meant to be, because they're remembering their dad through memories, through stories that they've told them, as opposed to firsthand memories. And so this person that's kind of foreign, but not really is supposed to represent that, or if it was just they wanted someone good. And he kind of gave me the politically correct answer, the media trained answer, where, oh, we wanted a big name. He's fantastic. He does a wonderful job. And we also wanted this film to be accessible to a wider range. And so we wanted someone that was very familiar to Nigerian faces, but also to the public faces. And so that's why they went with him. But I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought he was great, like in his role, but I also thought he was great with the kids, right? Like his chemistry with the kids, and it was believable. Like I believed for a second there that this was your dad. I believed like, the way he took care of them, the way he was with them, and the scene at the beach again when the stampede is happening and then he runs without even thinking, or even before that when he's crying and he covers his eye. It reminded me of the first time I saw my dad cry, and that was his thing. He tried to move his eyes away to cover his eyes to not so I wouldn't see him crying. So yeah, I thought he did a fantastic job, and I was just wondering we could talk about him for a second. Feel free to glaze if you must.
Um, I mean, I'll talk about Akin's answer just because I tend to think things through from the production producing point of view. And it's not necessarily politically correct. It's just the reality of things, right? It's like when you're making films that sort of need to exist for an international audience or have certain sort of financing that will feel sort of contingent on like your ability to sell the film to an international audience. Things like casting are extremely important. And so while yes, and Akin was so specific and like very honest about like finding and casting like Nigerian actors and actors that work within Nollywood, because it was so important that like I think he brought immediately in a recent article he was like, as someone who identifies as being a part of Nollywood, and I was like, even that like took me, I was like, oh, good to know that you think of yourself that way. It's a thing of like, this is how we get the resources into our own communities to make the film. And if you're blessed enough to have someone like Shope who took it extremely seriously and who was in Yoruba lessons from the day that he landed and was going to Lagos Island, um, to go just like experience being there, and was giving us heart palpitations and was really like committed to being like entrenched in this, and was doing dialect coaching and all of that. Like if you're blessed enough to have an actor who can bring you an audience but is willing to tell the story and tell it well, then like
Why
that's a
not?
wonderful, yeah, like why not? Honestly, you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fair.
I agree with you. That's why I cast him as well.
like
But
joke, TMC's film will come out and Chappelle won't be in it.
no, Shokwe won't be in it. I
Hey
know how
man.
Shokwe. I've seen Gangs of London. I know how Shokwe went.
Well, yeah, and I think further to that point, the film allowed us to get like a certain vulnerability of Black fatherhood on screens. I think of some older stuff like John Q, Pursuit of Happiness, Fences, and then some more recent ones like Moonlight, Waves, King Richard. Wait, I mean, they're not all like in Moonlight. They're not all playing fathers, but they're playing a father figure. I think this film does that very well, right? The black man is typically portrayed in like a not very emotional way, meant to be, kill or be killed way a lot of times, a gangbanger or a broke or a villain, right? Vulnerability is something that we see here and there, and every time we see it, it's because it's so few and far between that they end up getting nominated for an Oscar, King Richard, Moonlight, and stuff like that. I mean, Moonlight, he literally won it for that. And this is because it's so few and far between. But I think this film does it really well, where they allow him to be vulnerable in different ways, with the money scene. He's trying to whisper and like hide it a bit, but like you can tell like his kids are there, man. Like he's asking for his bread that he's owed, by the way, in front of his kids. Like he's trying to go about this with a certain way. The scene at the beach when he's telling a story that's very personal to him, he's also trying to hide it. But you see on his face, like this is a very, very vulnerable moment for him. And I see him as a human being. Like I'm not even thinking about the kids right there. I'm feeling his pain as someone who's lost someone right there. And yeah, so I think that's another thing that I really liked that was baked into this film. And yeah, did you guys feel that way about the father person?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a scene where he apologizes to Remy, yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, whenever I see stuff like that in films, I mean, I complain about Nollywood a lot, but I watch my fair share of Nollywood movies. Whenever I see dad apologize to his kid, I'm just like, nah, you lost me. I was with you till then. But I think this felt different because he he was also apologizing to himself for not showing up. You know, it's like it's like the past version of himself that did those things or omitted those things. He was apologizing to this version of himself. Like, and that's what like real regret feels like.
Yeah.
You know, it's like tell me why you're sorry, you know, and he tells him why he's sorry, and I just it felt really real because a real apology is just it's always going to feel real, whether it's from a Nigerian man or a Yoruba man who is cheating on his wife and taking his kid to like the same place where his mistress works at, but not really because
We'll talk about that one.
he's not really there. But it feels real. When real people do real things and they perform well, it feels real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just going back again, perfect casting. So yeah, vulnerability, through the roof. I felt it.
Yeah.
I've never not cried seeing Chopin perform that specific scene. Like from seeing him read the script, seeing him perform it before there was score and music, seeing it with like fully composed and everything every single time I cry because it's just like a masterful like delivery of like you said, just like black milk vulnerability. It's like it's a beautiful.
Yeah. Tremendous work. And I think also with I think that was the first time I teared up was when I don't really understand that part of I've seen it twice. I don't really understand that part. But the guy that's like the security guard telling, they're talking, like I don't know what role he's representing exactly, but when he's talking to him, and I think that's the first person in the film that makes us acknowledge that he's dead. But when he's
Mm-hmm.
like, help me tell her, talking about his wife and how he didn't really show that he loved her, I thought that was also that was a show of vulnerability as well. A quick question. Why did they add in that, or does anyone know what the writing was trying to tell us with the whole affair aspect of it? Because again, like this is a real person that we're working with, right? A real person to the writer and the director. But I think in moments when we're rewriting or retelling history, we tend to polish it a bit. We tend to, only show the good aspects and stuff like that. So I think it was a conscious choice for them to show that. But I didn't really understand why they would show that their dad was having an affair. And I don't know how I feel if I like it or not yet, but I want to hear, curious to hear what you guys think about that.
I should go
I loved
first.
it. Yeah,
You, you,
thank you.
you said
I
you
loved
liked
it.
it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't think affairs are good, obviously. But I think when
I like your
I
comedic delivery, man. I like it so much. Make you go.
I think affairs are horrible.
Okay.
They're disrespectful to man, woman, and God and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. And that's my take. I think I think affairs are bad, and I think I'm very brave for saying that. Okay, I'm done this time. I'm really done. I think
Okay.
I think it was really cool to like. I think when you write about someone as important as your dad, your first instinct is to mythologize him, whether good or bad. I think you're going to make him either a prolific saint or just a philanderer, a horrible person. How about both? How about having a man who was like just so raw and honest, and like, you know, that he could have a vulnerable moment like that with his son, but also expose them to the darker sides of himself and his feelings and stuff like that. I thought was really important. I think it's really important to be able to tell stories about people like that, especially Nigerian storytelling. Just like a person can be, again, MLK and still, hey, do not do on MLK things. But I guess they are MLK things because he did them, aren't they? So that's people, man. That's men. I think, and
Mm,
it's no, it's true. Like, men can be great and just be.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying like men cheat all the time. I'm saying men can be someone with
Good
that
and
much.
do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone who cares about his kids that much, and who, I think, just going back to where he apologizes and where he's like the way he deals with them through the course of the story. I think there's a lot of, I think kids learn how to be adults from how adults deal with them, in the sense that, like, when you have a dad that's able to be that vulnerable with you, and when they're wrong, say, I'm sorry, this is why I did that. And it's not an excuse, it's a reason why I'm sorry. You shouldn't be. When a dad can do that, it means like you're going to grow up and you're going to hold every single person you deal with accountable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that same person is also just, you know, when he then exposes you to, you know, affairs and dealing with that, and you're going to have these interactions that seemingly like normal, and then you grow up and you're like, well, that wasn't normal. I think there's something really powerful about that. And I think, you know, as much as these guys are trying to tell the story, and, you know, the production team and everyone is trying to like make it as authentic as possible, I see a lot of, no pun intended, shadow work and like just therapy, and just like trying to like, you know, I think there's a lot of that in this film. The first time I watched this film, I was like, I'm never watching this again, because it's like, it's just so raw. It's like very like, it's very, it's heavy. It's heavy. I will say this though, it's also so like, there are parts that are so funny, and I think that's like the, with a good drama is just like, the main thing you're going for is just honesty in storytelling. That's why, like, when you have like shows that are like, that are really raw,
Yeah.
the stuff that's like meant to be like just a haha joke becomes a belly laugh, because it's so real. And that's why things like Succession are so successful, because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's just
I
really
agree.
raw human behavior. It's
Yeah.
witty as well, but like, when you have really raw human behavior, everything becomes 10 times funnier. Everything becomes like 10 times more emotional. The sadder parts are super sad. The heavy
Mhm.
parts are super heavy. What was the question again?
It was just basically about Abike's his relationship with Abike and
Yeah,
the
no,
potential, you know, like why.
I think it was really brave, honestly, and it was a risk, in terms of like just being able to write about, mythologize your own father and tell that side of him in a way that I still ended up not.
Disliking him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
still
want to
was
get
go on,
everyone's perspective on this
please.
one as well.
And it's so interesting because like he go in that scene, like he's ranting about how much he loves their mom. Like he literally
Right
tells
up,
the
like
story
literally right
about like
before that. Yeah.
right before that he's telling the story of how they met and how he chased Tan and everything and how lucky he felt when she was like, you can't escort me. And all of that. And like 5 seconds later he's like in a back alley with this girl. And so but you see it and it's like, what? I think when I read this I was like, gosh damn it, you're a man. Um
Yoruba, Yoruba niggas, man. Oh.
um but it's like it's again this thing of like we want to tell a story about a human being. And especially when you're thinking about it from a kid's perspective, it is very easy to like lionize this man. And like throughout this, you get little pockets of emotion and seeing like his flaws, but really like understanding him as someone who like, again, is not perfect in the way that in where his children would consider him to be perfect. Like he's walking down the streets and everybody's hailing him capo. And like he goes places and he can get he gets them access into an amusement park with like no questions asked, things like that. So to not even like, I think the thing that fascinated me more about that scene is that like they didn't give it the Baba treatment. So the scene that he has with Baba is one of the few where like it's not from the children's perspective. It is they're not there in that scene. They're not looking at him.
Okay.
That is an interaction between two adults. But with Abike, like the only parts of it that you see are the parts that like Remy sees. So even to like Aki and Wale's choice to have this scene entirely be about, again, Remy's perception of his father and not even for Larry's own issues about like his marriage or this extramarital affair he's having. It's about the way you perceive your dad when you start to understand things about him that aren't so pleasant. So I think it's like, again, just leaning into this idea of like telling a very, very human and honest story.
No, I agree with what you've said, and I think I had clocked it during the film that okay, a lot of this is from their perspective when they see the aunt, and she's obviously very, very shocked to see him and stuff like that because he's dead. But that scene, the scene with the Papa, yeah, like that felt very. I was grappling with that one, but what you've just said makes sense. Like we're not. He sent them to play. They're playing and stuff like that. But then I like what you've also just said, TMT, about well, those are MLK things because he did them. So yeah, they're telling the story about their imagination of their dad, and this is who their dad was. It's not no need to polish it, no need to shine it. Maybe this is just me, Nigeria eye service. Maybe that's why I'm thinking. Oh, why would you do that to your father? But I need to
I mean, it's
unlearn
not
that
like
early.
entirely like an autobiographical tale of their father. Like it's inspired by like the idea of a memory, but like there's also
Yeah.
ones like Bash the Davies' dad like that. Um, um, like I think like they take like a lot of free rein, and Folarin talks a lot about that. Like when he sort of took on the role, like Aki and Wale were very clear. Like we're not asking you to come here and try and play like, our dad or a version of our dad. This is a Nigerian man and he's representative of a lot. But I do understand like this idea of like why would you take a man who seems so like perfect and is this perfect example of like black male vulnerability and cares for his children and just wants to take care of them and is flawed in that aspect where you understand the sacrifice he's making and then you have him do
Yeah.
this very like pointedly awful thing. Um,
Yeah.
but it's like
Yeah.
it's a way to like just recognize people as like human.
Yeah. I think because we're in the age of everything recorded and everything sort of contextualized in real time now with like comparisons of how other dads are and like just what his father is supposed to be. People know, you know. Kids are less sheltered like about who their parents are and who they project to be. There's this YouTube video, it's a Nigerian like Jubilee-esque video where like kids confront their like horrible dads, mostly men. And there's this one guy who says, "You used to flog me before school, regardless of if I did anything or not." And I honest to God thought his dad was going to be like, "That's insane. I didn't do that." And his dad was like, "Yeah, because I wanted you to, if I wanted the situation to be that if you thought about doing anything bad, you remember the cane. So I was flogging in advance." And I was just like,
God.
for what it's worth, this came out like 3 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not old.
Wow.
These are the parents of Gen Z kids.
Oh
So
damn.
it's horrible, but it's like also for a lot of these guys, the younger people, just you see them now and can sort of figure out if you have a good dad or a bad dad. You talk to people and you watch videos and you see things like that. But like for people who grew up in a time before that, I think Shokwe's character in this is very reminiscent of the classic Nigerian dad who's like, especially one who isn't overly like religious. He doesn't have he's not hiding behind any religion in terms of he's very much a Nigerian dad, but there's no God told us this. He's like, listen, this is who I am, and this is who I want you to think I am, and I'm sorry I'm not that sometimes. And it's a beautiful. I think as much as it's a great story and it benefits sort of historical awareness. Right. I think the generation that will learn the most from this are our parents' generation, and maybe the guys just below them and above them. I think they'll watch this movie, and I don't think a lot of them will be able to handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they're going to see the apology, and they're going to like see their dads telling them that, and a lot of them are going to break down. I think they're going to see how the charisma his character exuded. A lot of Nigerian men just want to be their dads because their dads were very charismatic men. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think they're going to see a lot of aspects of that character, and it's going to break them.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that, honestly. I'm super excited about the UK release. How long is it in cinemas for, by the way?
Not that long. Well, it came out in the UK last weekend. It came out in US and
Yeah.
Canada this weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, and I don't know if it's
Okay.
getting an extended run. I think it's
So
for
like
longer.
we're looking at what, 45 days?
There's screenings like all through this month. I don't know what exactly the end date is, but it's like go
Okay.
watch it because the better it does, the more time it
Mhm.
gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's like definitely like they're hopping around doing special screenings, but like it's in theaters for like a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, go watch it, please. And it's like I think it's like you how they deal with movie.
Yeah, it was acquired by
Yes,
movie, I
movies.
So
think.
it's acquired by
Movies
movie,
that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So please, unless you want to pay £10 for movie, watch it now, enjoy it with your
Yeah.
family,
Yes.
like have a
Yes.
whole little bonding
Go with your
session. It's
daddy. Go with your
yeah,
mommy.
go with your
Mm,
mom, go with your dad. Yeah.
yeah. And I think a lot of people, because I was talking to someone about this film, and I think I kind of approached it. I'm not going to say who to protect their privacy, but it's someone that lost their dad, and the person's also Yoruba. So I was explaining it from the aspects of, oh, this could be like personal to you, and you could go there and you could relate to this, and that actually turned them off from watching it. But then when I like again rewatched it, I'm like, I'm not Yoruba. I didn't lose my dad, and I still felt very emotional at the end of this all. I think the brothers were able to create a film that transcends some of these lines of division that we've drawn for ourselves, where even when they're speaking Yoruba, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. You know what I mean? And granted, there's subtitles, but even without the subtitles, like if you were Nigerian, even if you didn't have something, even if you didn't know what was reading, like just the way they turn their backs to the kids and like he's tapping his hand and stuff. Like there's things where you said communal, like, I think that was what you had used earlier, essay, but there's things that you think, okay, I know what this is in my head. I don't really talk like I can't really describe this in words, but then when I'm seeing it, I know exactly what's happening. So I say all that to say, just go see it. Like this is very original, very authentic. I've used that word so many times, but and it's made by us and it's for us. Like we're the target audience, man. Anyone can see it, but it's for us. It's very, very for us. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think that we can get more film like these in Nigeria today? Do we think like there's challenges around making a film like this? And I know, like I think Jen.
But like good movie.
I mean, Funke has good movies now. Come on, Funke has good movies, but Funke just became the highest grossing, first her film that's out right now. I forget the name. Crossed over $1 billion and cinema. So she became the first with like 4 or 5 films to gross $1 billion. So we're doing, the space is doing good. But do we think we can
Yeah.
get more films like these, today in Nigeria?
I think I want one from Funke. Like one like and I like just a, and I know she can do it. Like I know she has the skill set to like make something like this happen. Hold on, relax. Like something to like I think she can. I think if she does, we need to get the exact cast. Not the same cast as this, but like whoever she ends up hiring and casting in the roles for this like super breathtaking exploration of like a deep Nigerian topic, whatever. And I want to see them dance on social media. And I need the skits, I need the videos, the TikToks, boom, outfit change, TikTok, whatever TikTok we're getting. Do I think we'll make movies? Yeah, I think we're going to see not a lot more, but more. I think
Okay.
yeah, I think people want I think filmmaking is very algorithmic right now.
Yes,
And the people
100%.
who can move away from that are like the next big legend. Someone once told me that like AI isn't going to take your job. People that use AI are going to take your job. Think people that after the people that take AI that use AI take your job, the people that can make really cool stuff without AI are going to be your boss.
Oh,
That's
okay.
like that's like
With
the
the
next
future
level.
already.
Yeah, because I mean I've seen this thing about how like I'm sure you guys have seen that as well. Like movies that are going on streaming like Prime and Netflix are being written and like primed in like such a specific way that like you can use your phone and follow the film at the same time. And I think if you try to do that with this film, you would miss everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
110%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that's why the
yeah,
theater experience for this film is kind of key. I think you need to see it in theaters. You need to see with the right projection and
I
just like
agree.
lock it. It's also not that long, man. It's very, very digestible. And yeah.
Also, it's a phenomenal group watch. Take a bunch of people and go. Don't go
Yes,
alone. Yeah.
yes.
Go with a bunch of people, talk about it after, make a little gang line so that white people are scared when they walk past you. Just like in front of the cinema, just like a
Gosh.
little huddle. Yeah.
Yeah. My thing with Funke though is not like no beef, obviously. I enjoyed the Jennifer, films and shows like everybody else. I just think okay, do I think Jim Cameron can make your next Oppenheimer or your next I don't know The Brutalist or your next Killers of the Flower Moon? I don't think so, and I don't think that's a bad thing because I don't think Cameron is a bad filmmaker. He's actually one of my favorite filmmakers. I love the Avatar movies, but I love them for what they are. I
Yeah.
think Funke is in some ways like when I think about Funke, I think about her like James Cameron, which is
How
she's
dare you?
by what do you mean how dare we? She's by no means bad. She's by no means we loved her once upon a time. She made an actual really good film, like a film that, or a show or whatever that we
I think
consider
I I think
beyond
she's superior.
watchable.
I think she's superior to James Cameron. I think she. I think the only person I could really compare her to in the West is what's the name of that guy that does all those Americana movies?
Clint Eastwood, Americana.
Richard Linklater.
Oh, brother,
I
please.
think she captures the spirit of the Nigerian so well. It's almost scary sometimes, and I don't mean like if, for instance, if my father's shadow captured the soul of a Nigerian, like the actual, Funke gets like the meat and bones. Like she knows what makes us tick. She knows what makes us laugh. She knows what makes
Mhm.
us like really. It wasn't great, but I enjoyed that. And most times when I leave a Nigerian cinema, I'm like, what was that? But like, forget movies are like, I don't know what that was, but I really enjoyed it. But I do it again. Maybe if another one comes out, probably.
That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair. That's
yeah.
fair.
But this, my father's shadow is something, man. And I think in a world where it's like your life is very much people like routines now. It's safe. It helps us like, go about our lives in a specific way. You're watching the same movies all the time. You're listening to mostly the same music.
Mm,
Don't settle with cinema. Go out and see something that like makes you, that shakes you, that breaks you. Like life is short. Like live. And movies are a great way to live. Movies are a great way to like go through things that you weren't there for. And this is a thing, and it's an event. It's like, it's beautiful. Enjoy it. Go do
yeah.
it. Yeah.
SA, do you think we can get more films like these in Nigeria today? Emphasis on today.
I do. I think like films like My Father's Shadow, festivals like S16 Film Festival speak to the fact that like because it comes down to like thinking from a production, like the business of the industry perspective. The question that you sort of get asked is like, oh, do audiences actually want to see this film? And we took like Unilag, like there were a bunch of like Unilag students and like University of Ibadan students who went to see this and like loved it. Like who sat down outside of the theater and made videos about how like beautiful they thought it was. Some of our team members like were at like a Unilag screening, and I said those kids were like rambunctious in that theater, like in like a
Mm-hmm.
good way. Like they were engaging with the film. They laughed really loud. So someone like at the end when they realized what was happening, like there's a Yoruba like mythology word for like um when someone who's passed like sort of appears to like their family. people who are close to them
Okay.
afterwards, and I can't remember was
I
and like
learned it for
so
this as well, and I forgot.
yes, it was like an alakuda or something like that, and one of the kids like yelled this out, kind of thing. So like the idea that like audiences won't engage with these films on both a like mental level and emotional level and on an entertainment level is untrue. Right? We've just assumed, like, I remember when I first, like, sort of, like, entered the industry, the thing that was like, oh, Nigerians just want to laugh. It's escapism. That's all, like, Nigerian audiences want. But we prove, like, with films like this and with festivals like S16, that, like, people want to engage in films, like, on multiple levels. And
Yeah.
that these films that are quote unquote, I don't know, like, art house films or deep films or whatever you want to call them, still, like, appeal to like our sentiments as Nigerians. We see them ourselves in these movies because they capture who we are and the mundanity of our lives. And like people appreciate that and want to see it and will go see it and will pay to see it because at the end of the day, this is a business. Um, and so like I think as more and more financiers, distributors, and people all along the pipeline of the business understand that better, that we will start to see, like, we will definitely start to see more.
Okay.
Akudaya.
Akudaya.
Daya.
No. Also, yeah, just going back, just piggybacking off what Essay said, I think the stories are very important, and I think they will reach people as long as the storytelling around the story, so the advertising essentially. We just have to find a bridge
Yes.
to reach people.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think My Father's Shadow was like a good case study for that. Like it contextualized the experience that you were going to
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope we get more because I found that when I was talking about these films, like it wasn't just one person. I had two people say, someone who's also been on this podcast said this was like the greatest African film that they've seen. And my initial reaction to that was, bro, chill. Like, whoa, like what you mean? But then I'm thinking about it and like I'm coming up with some other films like Atlantics or whatever, which are great. But you can't say like those films blow this one out of the water. Like this is good enough to be in such conversations. And it's not even that groundbreaking or that like, revolutionary in anything that it does. If anything, it does things that we've seen before. Oftentimes, even it just does it, pretty well. And I would like to see more, but then if you go looking for more, there's not really anything else like this. So I would like to see more films like this. And I hear what you're saying about it's the business of it all. Unfortunately, the world is becoming increasingly capitalist. Even countries that practice socialism and whatnot are capitalist in practice. So the intersection, the marriage of business and art is not going anywhere. And if if people aren't coming out to see these films, then they're not going to be made. So I'm glad to hear that, like the people like Unilag and stuff like that, like the everyday person, not us, not me, not you, not our friends, like the literal everyday person is enjoying these films. Like I didn't know I didn't know that was happening. I think everyone that talked to about this is in filming somewhere or the other, like either a critic or a podcaster or a filmmaker or something. But I'm glad to hear that, this.
The number of people who are like lawyers and investment bankers and students who've seen this film and have just been moved again by like learning history that they didn't know or like just the personal aspects of the story. Like
Yeah.
again, like when something like when at its heart it's just telling like a human story, like is the audience is limitless, to be very honest with you.
I really do hope we get some more. I mean, TMT, your future man. Come on, be the next My Father Shadow.
On
Hey, you said
I won't lie to you.
kind of accepting Nigerians now. You can be next, man.
I think My Father's Shadow kind of reminds me of. So my favorite film ever, it's The Death of Stalin.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's literally what it has in common with My Father's Shadow is that it's one day, and it's the day Joseph Stalin dies in the the Soviet Union, and all his cronies, all the people who cozied up to this madman, basically are scrambling, and they're like trying to like grasp for power. His kids are running mad. It is truly one of the greatest comedies of all time, and it doesn't really get a lot of what's the word? Doesn't
Acclaim.
get a lot of acclaim, but I know what that movie is, and I feel like one day it's going to have a retrospective because it's truly phenomenal. And I think there's something about like movies that just take place in 12 to 48 hours. I think there's something very special and masterful about being able to tell a story in real time because you're not doing conversations, you're not doing snapshots of events. There's no time. It's so hard. And I think this movie is going to be that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's so special. Listen, you only get to I'm sure there might be like one, you only get a chance to see it in a cinema once in this particular like sense. There might be in festivals here and there, but if you're trying to go with your whole family to experience something that was really big for a country and a family,
Yeah.
go watch this movie. Sit down, enjoy it. Turn your phone off. You'll have it when you get out. Like turn your phone off, turn your brain on, just like be in the moment. Yeah.
Immerse yourself in it. Yeah.
Turn
Yeah.
your phone off, turn your brain on. That is it. Thank you both so much. This was a great conversation. Great film to talk about. Uh, yeah, go see it in cinemas, please, please, please. Yeah, TMT, thank you for coming on. SA, thank you for coming on. Do you guys have any closing words?
Watch the film, read the graphic novel adaptation when it comes out, buy the merch. Seriously, support it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, SAD, do you guys have merch?
Yes, we do actually. We have like
That will go so hard. That will go hard.
I need some
we
of
have
that.
I don't
So
have it here. We made like an onward book. You know the
Okay.
onward notebook that the
Yeah,
boys are
that's
using
hard.
to cut out
That's
the
right.
thing. So we have one that has like the picture of the poster where he's carrying the boys. We have one with that in front of it.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be
Yeah.
cool.
DM us if you want us. DM us. The social media manager is going to kill me. DM us your tickets showing us that you
When you
went
go to see the
to
film.
and
Okay.
watched the film,
Okay.
and we will let you know if we can get you a, a copy of the old book.
If you do some merch about the fish, I'll buy because I
You
don't.
do so much about the fish. So
That's
yeah,
yeah. That
DM
was
me,
an
write
invitation to treat,
reviews.
not an offer.
Invitations to
LOL.
treat.
Yeah, so in law, like boring. In law, people will, like say it's an invitation to treat, it's not an offer. So if you DM us, it's like an invitation for us to make you an offer. It's not an offer. Yeah.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. No, but yeah, like let us write. Like we read all the letterbox. We read all the Instagram comments. We read all the Twitter posts. Like there is a very long chain of us just sending like links and screenshots. I've seen somebody showed me like just scrolling of like a DM that they sent Akin saying, "This is what I think about whether or not Folarin is alive," and Akin actually responded to them. So like
That's funny.
we love to talk your theories. We love to talk your
Yeah.
questions. Like reach out, man. We're nerds about
I was
this.
I
And we
I
hope
was
you do
looking
too.
up I don't know if it's called Adira. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering something, but the significance of the cloth. So I was looking that up because I actually liked the design so much, and I for some reason I went to Reddit and I saw Akin Nola posted on Reddit. He was doing like an AMA, and it was just him just responding to random Reddit questions about the film. Like Reddit, and I'm like, how much time? Because this was 2 days ago or yesterday when he had the whole back-to-back panel thing. Like, how much time does this guy have? But
I
He's
don't know
doing
where he's finding the
festivals.
time to be this chronically online. Like you're on a plane for this many hours, you're in the screening, you're doing Q&A, and then you're traveling somewhere else where he finds time to
To
be
be
reading those
fair,
comments and replying.
if you're like on a plane or trains for like
Fair.
long amounts of time, you're just
fair
gonna
enough.
you get into a groove. Let's do Reddit.
Yeah. But it's cool because now I think some of those people that probably ask questions that weren't necessarily planning on seeing it, there's a more personal reason for them to go see it now. And so I like when filmmakers do that. Some of those questions aren't so smart though, but hey, who am I to say what's smart or what isn't smart? Like some people debating if he's alive and then dies after the film or if he's and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like there was no point where I felt like she was alive. And I thought they were like, I don't know if we should talk about this on the podcast, but I felt like right from the beginning, it was quite clear that, he wasn't. meant to be there. It wasn't like he was. We're living. Has anyone seen the Taika film Jojo Rabbit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Hitler in that film is
Can say his name.
what? I can
Can
say
say his name. Yeah.
Hitler in that film is from Folarin in this film is a more real version of Hitler in that film. In that, obviously Hitler was not this whimsical, jovial person and whatever. But in the mind of the kid, that's who he was, right? And so that's what we, the audience, is seeing him as. And so Folarin for this film, for me, the character that he's playing is through the eyes of this kid. Like, if there's any air of mystery around him, it's because the kids don't really understand what's happening. If there's any air of like sternness around him, it's because the kids see him as being stern. And if there's any air of love or whatever around him, especially when, I don't know, he's talking about his mom or whatever, like that's because that's what the kids are feeling from sorry, not his mom, their mom. That's what they're feeling through his eyes. And so I don't know why anyone would see that and think he was alive. Maybe the birds thing in the sky every time, maybe they were like, oh, okay, he's alive, but he's about to die, and that's why the birds are circling in the sky. Mm,
I
But
think he
yeah,
was alive.
Somebody, and like I know somebody who would have a very heated debate with you about this, and it would actually be great to bring on your podcast. I might actually just connect you two.
but
I
why
think
would
he
you
was.
think? Why do you think he was
Yeah,
alive?
because I think there's a super charismatic Yoruba man inside all of us. Am I doing this right? Yeah, inside all of us here. And I think that was the whole point of the film. We are him, he is us.
There's no Yoruba man.
Also, June 12th
Sorry.
was bad.
Yes, June 12th was bad, and that was a big point. But there's no Yoruba man inside of me. Please, I just want to say that.
Hey, yo.
Pause, man. But yeah, okay. So you're saying the Yoruba man or him, like who he represents, is a real thing, and that's what was alive. Not necessarily like the person himself was alive, but you're saying like,
No, I was just talking nonsense. Don't take me seriously, man. Come
God
on.
damn,
You know what this is? It's late. It's late, and I'm like,
my
I'm
bad,
starting
my
to,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, that was just one thing to me that I felt they did really well, and it's like, but hey, man, that's the beauty of art. It's open to interpretation. People take what they want. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you both so much. I know it's super late, but we appreciate this. Go see My Father Shadow. Go see it. I've made many people go see it. I keep telling people to go see it. And please go see it. Great film. Cinemas today, cinemas forever, cinema will live on. So yeah, thank you both.
Bye.